What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be working on my buddy's 2006 Suzuki Gsxr. So basically he's been having trouble with keeping life on the battery. So he bought the stator. He already replaced the rectifier, so we're going to put the stator in. First time I do a job like this. I saw a bunch of videos on YouTube. I'm going to leave the link below of one of the ones that I thought was real helpful. I'm going to try to attempt to do this myself. I'm going to start by removing the side fairing, and then we're gonna remove the bolt cover for the cover, and then I'm gonna remove the stator, replace it, and then I'm gonna put everything back on, put the oil back in, and start her up. He's gonna take it home. He's gonna ride it for a few days, see what happens. Wish me luck, guys. Alrighty, guys. Tools I'm gonna be using. I have a flathead screwdriver. I have a ratchet, extension 17 socket. I also have the another small ratchet. We have the extension, and then we have an 8mm for these bolts right here. And then I'm also gonna have the Allen set to remove the fairings. Let's get it going. I'm gonna let the oil drain out first. I'm gonna start by just doing that, and then I'm gonna remove the side fairing, and then I'm gonna move on to removing the cover for the stator and replacing the stator, putting everything back on. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna take out the cap for the oil on the other side. You're gonna have 1, 2, 3, and 4 fairing bolts, and then you're gonna have 2 pop out clips, push clips that I'm gonna remove to be able to get this piece out, get it out of the way so we can work a little more comfortable. There's actually a Phillips head clip on the bottom there, one of those that screws in. So I'm gonna go grab a Phillips screwdriver and remove that real quick. Cover bolts, and I'm gonna remove the stator. I still have to go and get the tank off, lift it up, get the intake off, and then I'm gonna be able to get the clip for the plug for the stator. All right, wish me luck.
Once I removed the fairings and finally was able to get to the stator cover, and I began to remove the 10 bolts for the stator cover, I just kind of started working them slowly, one by one, putting them to the side so I wouldn't lose them. Eventually I was able to get all the bolts off, but I would try to remove the stator cover and it was still in place, very strong, like almost if something was holding it, until I figured out that there is an actual little cover there towards the top that goes into that has the gearing that goes into the starter, and that actually is what creates the spark when you go to start your bike. That turns the gearing and makes your bike start. There I am trying to remove the smaller cover to get to what I found out was one more bolt in there that you need to remove before you could even start wedging the stator cover and removing it. So once I was able to do that, I was able to see that, oh wow, there is a bolt in there that you have to remove before you could actually remove the stator cover. So once I removed that one, I started just slowly wedging a screwdriver in between the stator cover and the engine case, and then I was able to finally removed the stator cover.
Alrighty guys, I got the cover off. This is the stator here. Now I'm gonna remove I'm just gonna lift up the tank to be able to get to the plug, to unplug the wire, so I can get the piece out, and then I can replace the stator, put everything back on, and hopefully it starts working for me.
Alrighty guys, once you lift up the fuel tank, you'll be able to see the air box. To be able to get to the stator plug, you're gonna have to remove the air box. Now all you got to do is you got to remove the front screw. It's a 10 mil. You have to remove the 4 Phillips head screwdriver brackets that go into the intake manifold, and you also have to remove, there's a front hose, there's a rear hose, and there's also a sensor that goes into the air box in the front that you have to remove to be able to lift up the box and get to the stator plug.
Once you have it off, you have 3 Allen screws that hold the stator in place, but you're also going to have a 4th smaller Allen screw that's going to hold the cable in place for the plug. So just be on the lookout for that when you do it. Not too bad to do, but just be on the lookout. You got to remove those to be able to get it completely out.
Alrighty guys, so I learned a bunch doing this job. This was my first time removing a stator and replacing it. So basically you want to have your brand new gasket. You want to use some silicone, because I didn't get it on camera, but once I put it back on, I used the same gasket that it had, and I don't recommend that, because once I put that back on, I did put silicone on there and it started leaking. So it was a couple days before my buddy could get me the gasket. He got the stator in first, but the gasket came in afterwards. So anyways, I learned that, you know what, when you do these things, you want to have the brand new stuff. You want to have brand new gasket, brand new parts. You don't want to use anything old. So that was something that I learned, and I'm always gonna cherish that, because I know now, from now on, anything that I'm doing on a motorcycle, you want to have brand new parts. So just keep a lookout for that. And you might see videos that say you can use an old gasket, but don't, guys. I don't recommend it.
Alrighty guys, I'm gonna put her back in place, and hopefully, man, like I said, it works out for him.
Another tip, guys, is, you know, if you're having trouble with your motorcycle battery, do the test first. Charge your battery. Number one, charge your battery. Once you have it fully charged, without turning it on, without having it on idle, test the battery to see what kind of voltage it has. If it's fully charged and it's putting under 12, your battery may be wrong. But I know that these 3 components work together. You have the stator, you have the rectifier, and you also have the battery. And I actually also didn't catch this on camera, but his rectifier that he had replaced had blown up somehow. I don't know how it did, but he ended up having a spare one. He brought that. I also replaced that. So it was a bit of a bigger project than I expected it, but man, did I learn a lot. And actually, man, it was something that now, moving on forward, I'll be able to work on different type of bikes, and I'll be able to test the rectifier, I'll be able to test the stator and the battery as well. So guys, stay tuned. I have a 1998 Suzuki Gsxr that I'm going to be doing the same thing, but I'm going to go into detail a little bit more as far as doing the diagnostics and doing the the testing. So just stay tuned. Always be safe. Keep your parts together. When you're working on electrical parts, disconnect the battery, and just look up information. YouTube is a great source of information. You can find everything on there. So just do your research and go for it, man. It's not something that's out of this world, but you could get it done. So thank you guys for watching, man, and I'll keep pumping these videos out for you guys.
Alrighty guys, I got the air filter back on. I got the plug on for the stator. Now I'm just gonna put all the bolts back, fill it up with oil, call it a day.
So for this part, I was putting back, there's a little cover in there that goes on the big cover for the stator, that has some gearing, and basically what that does is that gearing goes with the starter, and when you crank your bike to get it going, that's what turns to create the spark to be able to turn on the motorcycle. So basically you have to be real careful to put that piece back in place, where the teeth of the starter and the gearing line up. So therefore when you go to start it up, you don't have a problem where they're not turning and not working how they're supposed to. So I had to also learn that, because the first time I did it, put it back together, it was not working properly. I ended up taking it off again and just redoing the whole job basically. And I mean, this was a whole learning experience for me. And I'm not mad that I was pushed to do the job twice. Like, I took everything off again, put it back in, because I really enjoy working on the bike, and I just every time I was learning something different, something new. So for like the next one, that 1998 Shred that I'm gonna be working on, the Suzuki Gsxr, I already know what to do, step by step, and it's not gonna mess me up. I feel like I'm gonna be more efficient. So sometimes you gotta mess up a little bit to be able to get better at what you're doing. So like I said, guys, just do your research, take your time, and just try to do it right. I mean, if you never worked on something like this, don't beat yourself up if you feel like, I didn't do a good job or something's not working right. Just take it apart, look it over, and just review everything, and just push yourself. Don't feel like, oh, I'm a failure. No, just put yourself in the position and just keep going, because if you did it once, you could do it twice, and then you could do it again. So just thank you for watching, guys. So we're looking at 12.5 rain now, just the bike sitting. Now we're gonna try to start her up. Check it out, guys.